So for this top 15 video, I'm going to be talking about my 15 favorite movies of the year 2017. Now, 2017 was actually a pretty interesting year of movies for me. When I look at this list, it's kind of surprising, some of these movies and their position on the list. And I know this list is going to be, it might be a little controversial. It might get some flack for this. I don't know, but I'll start right off with number 15, which is Jeepers Creepers 3. And yeah, I mentioned controversial. This was a very controversial film, because of all the bad stuff the director did a while ago. And I'm not like condoning it or anything or supporting it or anything like that. I always enjoyed Jeepers Creepers 3. It's one of my favorite horror movies. It's one of my favorite movies in general. I guess it's somewhere in my top 10. I mean, not top 10. Like top 50, top 20, something around there. So I was, of course, looking forward to this movie. I knew it would be a movie that I would really want to see in theaters, and I did like the movie. It was better than I expected, and honestly, I honestly think it was better than it should have been. I mean, it does kind of seem like a movie built for the Sci-Fi Channel a little bit. The special effects weren't great. I actually don't have a review for this up on my channel, but I did do a review for this movie. It's one of those infamous lost movie reviews that I have out there. And I say lost because I honestly just don't know where the footage is. It's on some micro SD card somewhere. Hopefully it's in my room and I can find it at some point. But I know I had an 8-hour layover in Houston, and so I just filmed a couple of movie reviews during those 8 hours, and it was a long 8 hours, and you can kind of see me slowly lose my mind over the course of those 8 hours in those movie reviews. And so it's some interesting footage there. But number 14 is Resident Evil, The Final Chapter. Now, this is going to seem strange because I know a lot of people don't like these movies, but as someone who's never played the Resident Evil games at all, I do like these movies. Resident Evil is one of the two franchises that I can frequently marathon because they all kind of blend together. I can't distinguish, one movie from the other too much. So every time I marathon them, it's kind of like I'm watching it again for the first time, so to speak. And Final Chapter, it was just nice to be able to see one of these in theaters because I had never seen a Resident Evil movie in theaters, and I like all these movies and enjoy them. They're not good. I'm not saying these are good movies. I'm just saying I enjoy them and I like them, and I enjoyed Resident Evil: The Final Chapter a good bit. It's not a good movie, and it seriously messes with the continuity of the franchise, which is not something that you should really care about. But everything, the whole plot of this movie, directly steals from the plot of another movie and makes that movie obsolete. And it's really almost strange they did it because it's beat for beat another Resident Evil movie. They just changed the characters around. I did a whole review on this, which was interesting review. Number 13, and it's nice to get off controversial movies because number 13 is Star Wars: The Last Jedi. And this is kind of low on my list, and I kind of questioned that, but I figured I'd just roll with it. The weird thing about Last Jedi is watching this movie you're like in a bubble. You watch the movie, you're experiencing that movie, you get out, you're still in that, but then eventually you have to go out into the real world. And the real world, when it comes to Star Wars, sucks. Because it's just filled with people who it's filled with people who are just filled with hate. And they will attack the movie and your opinion on the movie, no matter what your opinion is, whether it's positive or negative, And I thought the movie was okay, and I still got some crazy person writing a paragraph about it, and writing a comment that was like a paragraph long. He wrote like a mini essay about it, and it's just tiring. I'm honestly at this point I'm just kind of over Star Wars. I just want to watch this one that comes out this year and just be done with it. You know, like I liked the movie a lot. I enjoyed it. Was it perfect? No. I thought it was okay, but I liked it a lot. There's stuff in the movie that I really really like, and then there's stuff in the movie that I really really hate. And so it's just this weird mixed bag thing. But it exists in this bubble because once you leave Star Wars The Last Jedi, you got to go back into the real world, and that's disappointing. So number 12 is A Ghost Story. This is another somewhat odd movie. I don't know, controversial. It's either or it's either really liked or really disliked. I think I liked it a little more my first viewing, so I think that kind of bumped it down on the list a little bit. Number 11 is Thor Ragnarok. I actually really don't understand why I didn't manage to see this movie in theaters. It was pretty strange, because I really enjoyed this movie a lot. I think it's very funny. I like the direction they went with Thor, his character, how they kind of like completely... It's almost like a reboot, because this Thor movie is nothing like the other Thor movies, and I was kind of worried about that. I was almost worried it was going to be too just Guardians of the Galaxy, except with Thor, and it kind of was that, but then it wasn't at the same time. So I just did really enjoy the movie a lot, and I thought it was pretty funny. Number 10 is the Lego Batman movie. Combining two of my favorite things, Lego and Batman. It's bound to be a good time, and it was. As a fan of Batman, I really liked all the little stuff, references to other movies. They had a lot of the Rogues Gallery in there. Some of the more obscure villains was nice. The inclusion of other villains from other properties was neat. I did a whole review about this movie too. You can check out my opinions on a lot of these movies. I think I did reviews for, because that's when I was doing reviews a little more heavily. I didn't do reviews too heavily in 2018. More so in 2017, and I suppose now 2019. But that was a movie I did like a lot. Number 9 is Baby Driver. I saw this movie like super late. I think I saw this movie this year. So this is the most recent movie that I've seen on this list. And it is a good movie. I will admit that. It just, nothing about it ever really interested me at the time. So I guess that's kind of why I put it off so much. Maybe if I had seen this in theaters or, seen it earlier, I would have liked it more. I don't know. We'll never know. So it is where it is right now. Number 8 is It Comes at Night. This is just a movie that seemed right up my alley. It's a A24 horror movie, and at this point, I had just saw The Witch in 2016, so I was up for an A24 horror movie. And of course, it's got Joel Edgerton. I'm a big fan of Joel Edgerton, so just something I figured I would see, and I did. I liked it. I thought it was kind of what I was expecting a little bit. It was scary in the way you aren't expecting it exactly. It's not the horror slasher jump scare scary that we're getting now. It was more like The Witch, the tension, the slow build of it all. That kind of made it more scary. So I did like it. I didn't like it as much as The Witch, but I liked The Witch a lot. Number 7 is Good Time. Again, this is another A24 movie. I highly recommend this movie to be checked out. And the acting and directing was just really good. Like this is a really good movie. Like I'll say that I think this is one of the best movies made in 2017. Just looking at it subjectively, you know, I didn't. Uh, let's say it wasn't my favorite movie of the year, but I think it was one of the best movies of the year, if that makes sense. I think other people who look for this more in movies are gonna like it more than I did. Not that I didn't like it. I mean, it's in my top 10. So if it hits my top 10 or top 5, it's a movie that I really did enjoy and really did like. Number 6 is It. Now this is one of the first of a couple surprises on my list. This isn't a movie that I expected to watch or even like. I don't even really remember why I went to see this movie in the first place. And this is the second movie on my list that is part of that lost movie review collection that I had previously mentioned. So far it was Jeepers Creepers 3 and It, or It Chapter 1. But this movie was really good. Like, it was definitely one of the better horror movies I've seen in a long time. I think It Chapter 1 made it pretty high on my list of favorite horror movies when I did a top 15 favorite horror movies. I think it did. And I know It Chapter 2 made it pretty high on my list of most anticipated of 2019. So, it's definitely... this movie definitely resonated with me on a couple different levels, so it was good. Now we're getting into the real stuff here. Number 5 is Dunkirk. I think this is the highest movie on my list. Oh no, it's not actually. Well, this movie is one of the movies that I honestly haven't seen again, and it has nothing to do with the quality of the movie, but I just haven't seen it. And I mean, I don't know why that is, but I went to see this in theaters. It was a really great theater experience. It was another like really well done movie. And I feel like if this was anything else, I wouldn't care about this too much. Like, I had no interest in seeing the Gary Oldman playing Winston Churchill movie, whatever that was called. I had no interest in that. Although it's kind of weird that like both these movies kind of like came out around the same time, and I don't always go for historical movies too much. I mean, I still say Lincoln is one of the most boring movies I've ever seen. I swear, it was not my choice to watch that movie, and it was boring as hell. I'll be honest. So I don't go for those type of movies too much. But Dunkirk was very well done. It's Christopher Nolan. You expect something like this from Christopher Nolan, and he delivered. He hasn't really, in my opinion, he hasn't really steered wrong yet. So I look forward to what he's got next. Number 4 is honestly, in my opinion, the biggest surprise on this list. Number 4 is Power Rangers. Now, I never expected to like this movie, let alone even look forward to watching this movie. I've never seen anything Power Rangers related. I've never seen the TV show or the animated series, if there was one. I don't know if there was, or any previous movies. But when the trailer for this Power Rangers movie came out, I saw that trailer and I was like, this is a good trailer. This movie looks good. I don't know why, but I'm looking forward to this movie. And I was looking forward to the movie. And I did see the movie, and I did like it. And I mean, that's having seen nothing Power Rangers related. And I'm probably not going to see anything else Power Rangers related, unless it's a sequel to this movie, which apparently they're not going to do because the movie didn't do that good. So, I mean, I guess that's okay. This was a one and done for me. This was my one time dipping my hand in the Power Rangers pool, I suppose. I don't know if that was the right use of that, but whatever. It's getting into a long video here. But I really don't know. I just enjoyed the movie a lot. And number 3 is Split. Now, this is This is, of course, a movie that I didn't see coming, but I get why I liked this movie a lot. I think James McAvoy is great in this movie. I think I did a review for this, too. I did a review for this and Power Rangers. I did reviews for. So you can check those out, too. But Split, I don't know, it just wasn't what I was... I guess I wasn't really expecting anything. I just knew that, M. Night Shyamalan's kind of making a comeback. This looks pretty good. I think I might check it out. Don't want to see too much of the trailers or spoil anything. James McAvoy's pretty good, so I figured I'd go check it out, and I really did. I really did enjoy the movie, honestly. And I kind of understood what they were going for with this twist ending, I suppose. Even though I hadn't actually seen Unbreakable, I still understood, like, oh, okay, they're gonna, do this and this and this, but I don't think that ruined anything or made me like it less. Split is definitely my favorite of the three. And, I've talked about Split in a movie review. I've talked about Split when I talked about Glass. I think I did I don't know if I did a review for Unbreakable. I don't think I did. Number 2 is going to be Logan. I think this is another movie I did a review for on my channel. This is just... I'm such a huge fan of the Fox X-Men universe. It's always meant... it's always been a big deal for me. And so just seeing this story, kind of like this story that we've always wanted and always hoped we would get, just a good, true Logan, Wolverine story. Everyone was on their A game here. Hugh Jackman was great, Patrick Stewart was great. It was just a great send-off for this character, and almost like, this could have almost been like a conclusion to the X-Men universe, I suppose. Even though it kind of like messes with the peachiness that was left off with Days of Future Past. Days of Future Past, and then everything was great, and now Logan, everything sucks again. But I like Logan a lot. And number 1 on my list is Blade Runner 2049. And if I'm being honest, I've never... It's weird, because I'm happy this movie didn't make money. Because I love the movie a lot. But I'm happy the movie didn't make money, because I don't want to see a sequel. I think the only reason this movie worked is because it was so long after the first Blade Runner. About, 30 years after the first Blade Runner. And that's why this movie works, in my opinion. And this is actually the last movie that I did the Lost... This is actually the last movie that's on the Lost movie thing, so maybe I'll find that sometime. And it's kind of surprising that this movie did so poorly. I remember I watched this movie in Hawaii in an IMAX theater on a weekend, and I was the only person in that movie theater. And it was like opening weekend in IMAX in a major city. The only person in the theater. I was like, what is going on? I did not understand. But the movie was great. I mean, it looks beautiful, cinematography, the score, the visual effects, the acting, everything just looks amazing. And I still, to this day, don't understand how every time I do one of these top 15 videos, I end up running out of time towards number 1. Because I always want to talk about number 1 so much, but I just take too long